morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you're tuning in. Welcome back to Tea and Tarot with your sis, Moon Magic. I got my coffee, tea, drink of choice here. It's coffee, y'all. Anyways, it's still called Tea and Tarot because your girl be giving you the tea, you feel me? So grab your drink, whatever it is, tea, lemonade, juice, water, whatever it is. And come join me here for Tea and Tarot. We're going to dive into the tarot, and I'm going to pull for the collective here. Give you all some updates, what's been going on in my world. Give me your updates. Let me know what's been going on in your world down below. And we're going to get into it, vibe together. This is our intuitive vibe session, a time for us to really just connect with one another in community. That's my intention when I come to this space. So I hope you all can join me here in this space and enjoy it as well. You can grab a journal as well if you want to take notes, but if you just want to bring yourself and vibe, that's totally okay as well. As you can see, have my hair up in a bun, which I never do on camera, but I've been out of it's summer break currently, and I am a full-time artist, but I also teach part-time, so this is very much like a stay-at-home, work from home every day, all day, basically, unless I'm going out for events. So my hair has been up in a bun for most of the summer, and that's just been the vibe, and we're rocking with it, and I'm totally okay with that. And I'm pretty proud of myself, y'all, that I've been coming up here every month and been able to sustain doing these videos monthly. We used to do Tea and Tarot live on Instagram every single week, and it wasn't very sustainable. Weeklies are kind of hard for me just because, I love pulling tarot, but more than how much I love pulling tarot is how important it is for me to be authentic and to also make sure that I'm providing and giving time for myself, because all these transitions and things that are happening collectively, I'm also feeling personally, and I will be the first one to admit when I make mistakes, the first one to admit that I'm flawed, the first one to admit that I am not your guru, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe that anybody should be your guru. I feel like you are your own guru. The divine is your guru, the divine within all of us, and sometimes we put people on a pedestal and even put ourselves on a pedestal. And when I started doing the weeklies, I do anything every week, I feel like I don't allow myself to have that time to process. And I definitely am the type of person who needs a lot of time to process. Being, neurodivergent, as they call it, I was diagnosed with ADHD the moment I stepped foot into a classroom. I know that processing time and my ability to have solitude from the world, and I get overwhelmed very, very easily. I get overstimulated very easily. I'm extremely sensitive, which is why I love tarot and all those things, because it's a way for me to navigate the world, being someone who is more sensitive and attuned in that way. That it's also important that I take that time out for myself and that I honor that, because the integrity that I bring to my readings is extremely, extremely important. And so I feel like I'm really proud of myself for keeping up with these monthlies, y'all, and being able to sustain it. And we're back at it for our collective reading here. And so for main updates for me right now, and like I said, let me know your updates. Let me know what's going on in your world, because this is really, really about building community more than anything. But my main updates, as you've been know if you've been around here on the channel or seen my social media, is that I've been working on my new album project. I have been working on it since at least the earliest documentation that I have of having had some demos already recorded and had already written a few songs. So I started working on it prior to that, probably closer to August and September of last year. October is the first time that I have documentation of me talking about the demos I had recorded. So I know I've been working on this album for almost a year, and I've been really, really just taking my time with it and just really trying to be intentional with it. Since I've been putting music out for a while now, I feel like with each project, I'm always trying to take it to a new level and a new place, and also just really incorporating the things that I've learned about how to create better music and, just make something great, make dope art. That's really my intention and my focus. So I have all the mix and masters back. There's a couple of minor things that I want to change, just like the length of certain songs or taking out certain words of, cuss words, things like that. But overall, it's pretty much done. and I'm working on the album cover right now, and a lot of the visuals I've been animating like crazy, which I don't have a lot of my animations out. I've done flyer work and animations for other artists, and you can find that on their platforms, but on my own platform I don't have a lot of my animations in like a portfolio of it, but you're gonna see a lot of my work coming up soon. So I've been doing a lot of that and just getting into a really creative routine here at the house, which has also turned into me becoming a night owl, which I've never been a night owl in my life, y'all. I am like the most afternoon worker that you'll ever meet. Like, I'm not a morning person, I'm not a night person. I love the afternoons. And when I became a full-time artist and started working events at night, that was kind of one of the challenging parts of it, was to get used to being up later at night. You know, when it's exciting and it's like this big event, it's really easy to ride that high. But, you know, sometimes when you get used to a certain environment, I found myself needing to like force myself awake. So I'm like really drinking lots of caffeine and all of that. But anyways, point being, I have become a night owl. I am going to bed at like 2 a.m. on average. And the other night I was up till almost 4 a.m. working on this animation that I was doing for one of the new songs. And I was just so in the flow of it. And that has me waking up at like noon right now, which is so bad, y'all. So bad. But it's been great work. Like, I've been really just like kind of getting in a state of flow and find myself just working till really late in the night. Which has been nice, because as a full-time artist and someone who works predominantly from home, it's sometimes really hard to get into that flow state, to be honest. Like, sometimes I will find myself really struggling to get creative or to get to work and to be productive and to find those corners of the house in which I am the most productive. You know, getting like a workspace and also like finding a good rhythm of like taking breaks but not getting too distracted. All those things that come from working at home, which any of my people who work from home, let me know down below how you manage it, because I know how difficult it is. I'm sure you have your own stories, and I would love to hear y'all's tips and tricks. It's something I've been working on for years. Since I started this journey in 2019, I've gone back and forth between working full-time as an artist and working full-time teaching. And each time I'm in full-time artist mode, that is one of my biggest challenges. And to stay, you know, make sure I shower and, you know, work out and go outside and touch grass, you know what I mean? Because you can get cooped up in the house and all that good stuff. So I've been making sure to do and leave space for all of that. And one of my biggest things this month that I've been really working on, that I want to share here on the updates, is really dedicating daily time to practicing my instruments. That has been really, really awesome. My consistency with that has not always been there, and especially since like guitar, for example, is an instrument that I picked up when I was like 15, but I would get into it for a couple months and then just kind of trail off, and then get into it for a couple months, trail off. I never really saw like much growth in that way. But now that I've been consistently working on some of the instruments that I've been working on building my skills in consistently all summer, I can really see the growth in it. I still have so much to learn though. I'm still such a novice, but really been something that's been giving me joy. I've been finding that, you know, one of the hardest things in life, y'all, and I don't know if you can relate to this, but is trying to find something worth living for, something that fulfills you, something that brings you joy, just to do it without external validation, not, you know, getting clapped from your parents, you know, like, woohoo, you're awesome, or getting claps from social media, you did it, you know, or, you know, having the validation of a partner, or, you know, any of those things. It's like, what are the hobbies and interests and passions and things that you love that bring you joy, that you seeing your own personal growth in, or just being able to do it like a mantra and a practice, and breathing life to it every single day, and just being present with it is something that genuinely brings you joy and fulfillment. I feel like that's really, really difficult to find those things, one, and then to cultivate a practice around them. So let me know down below. But that's definitely been something I've been really working on, especially since, you know, I don't have any little ones, you know, at the moment, like my actual own children. You know, so my artistry and my passions and interests like that really are my children. My work is my child, and my career is my child, and something that I pour so much of myself into, that really finding that flow and fulfillment and joy throughout it is super important, and waxes and wanes like the rest of the world, you know what I mean, and all the ebbs and flows of things that happen in our life. But yeah, that's been pretty much a lot of the updates of what's been going on in my life. Continue to work out in the yard, get myself out of the house, and been also just like really tapping into being like an observer and a novice in things, you know, being new at things and seeing where that takes me. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and jump right into the reading. Those are the main updates I can think of off the top of my head. I would love to hear your all's updates, what's going on in your world. I don't actually, before doing these videos, like make a list of things I want to talk about. It's really just a time for me to, you know, chat, say what's up, and just be real human with y'all, because I think sometimes we, especially when pulling tarot, I feel like tarot is such an intimate practice, and I think it's easy, like I said, to see this as like some other outside of ourselves, or this pedestal, and you know, all those types of things where I'm like, man, it's so important to me as someone who practices pulling tarot to humanize the experience, if that makes sense, and to, you know, really show how much we're all in this together, because that's really what I love about tarot, to be honest, is that I see, and I probably talk about this 100 times on this channel, but I see all the time how the energy that is showing up in my life and in my tarot pulls is mirrored a lot of times in the clients that I work with and the people that I pull for. And not because I'm putting my energy into the readings, but because I literally see how everything is energy and we're all experiencing this energy at the same time, but it's manifesting in different ways. And that's really my belief, because I've had it happen time and time again where I'm like, man, sitting there doing a reading for myself, like, I don't understand this energy. Why is this happening? I'm so frustrated, you know, all the feels, right? And then I go out to an event and I'm pulling tarot at the table, and someone comes to me and tells me their story, and their energy is almost mirroring exactly that of what I was feeling, but in a completely different way. And it gives so much perspective to life, and you know, personally for me, how naive I feel like I am to everything, right? Like we can't know everything, and God is so good, and the universe is so grand and vast that our finite minds can only wrap our heads around so much. And even when we think we got it figured out, we really don't, you know. And it's such a beautiful way that energy moves, if that makes sense, you know. Like I've had times where I've seen, you know, I'm battling with something and maybe I'm angry or, you know, hurt by someone, and then I go to do a reading at an event, and that person who hurt me is the energy that's coming through in the reading, but it's this person who's in front of me, and it's like they're almost the other half of what was happening, but in their own reality, in a completely different context, in a completely different event, but it has the same energy. And you're like, wow, this is like the perspective of that person, and I wouldn't have seen it that way, and how they're hurting in this way also, or this thing, you know. I hope this makes sense, but that's, you know, something I've noticed and observed, is just how much we really are one interconnected consciousness in so many ways. And I love these little updates because I feel like it's a fun way to just get to connect and tap in with one another. And you know, life is so hard, especially right now with everything going on. Things have been wild, and there's so much uncertainty and hurt and trauma and just evil at play, you know. And I don't use that word lightly, but that's, you know, it's really can be something that hurts our mental, that, you know, makes it hard for us to want to even go on, you know. And I think it's nice to feel that connection with someone and be like, wow, you know what, we're all kind of going through similar things. And even when you feel like you're really, really alone, and that no one would even care if you were gone, that we're more connected than you know, and that breakthrough might just be right around the corner that you need. So I don't know, we're gonna go ahead and hop into this reading. I hope that this message finds you well, and we're gonna see what comes out for the collective. I have not had my sound bowl up here the last couple days, I'm gonna do a little spritzy spray. Cleanse the air a little bit. And we're just gonna do a ground in. So if you want to join me on the ground in, you put one hand over your heart, one hand over your gut area, close your eyes, and just take a deep breath. You can plant your feet firmly on the ground. And if you're driving, make sure to not close your eyes, but definitely just allow yourself to be present and observe and focus on your breath. This is really our time to check in with how we feel, to ground in to this present moment, to speak gratitude to the divine and all the blessings that we don't know are there for us. God's grace, the divine's grace. And just on your own, take deep breaths in and out. Really practicing some compassion for yourself in this moment, whatever it is that you're going through, wherever you are. And I ask that these messages come in for your highest good, to speak exactly to that energy, and that this message finds those who it's meant for. Last deep breath in and release. Got all the tingles in my nose, you know? All right, so we're going to go ahead and move this down so you all can see the cards here now. Don't mind my PJs in the background. I said I work from home, y'all. Okay, you know, half the time we're in our pajamas. All right, take a little sip of the drink. And let's get started. All right, so let's go ahead and see what energy comes through for the collective right now. What is the main energy? Wow, that was fast. 2 of Cups. Okay, union. I love this. And let's see what supporting energy you have around this. This is very Leo energy too. You see the lion right there, which we are going, I think we just entered Leo season. So definitely on par with that. I feel like this is like the coming around is what I'm hearing. The coming around. Things are coming around. Things are coming around. And some advice. Things are coming around. Things are aligning for your highest good, even when it doesn't seem like it is. This is the energy of things falling apart for better things to fall together. This is the energy of not being comfortable where you're at so you can get more secure and comfortable. This is the energy of no longer allowing the mind to trick you. This is the energy of accepting shadows. This is the energy of allowing it to fall apart so better things can fall together. This is the energy of trial after trial, loss after loss, so that something better can take its place. This is the energy of no longer just sitting in the muck, but now taking action. We have the ring. Okay, so this is definitely about some sort of promise. This could be a relationship. This could be some sort of partnership, a business partnership. This could be just anything that, like, it's giving the energy also of like a promise that maybe the divine made to you, or that, you know, like a manifestation that you, something you asked the divine to do for you, and or something that you prayed for, and it coming in, but maybe coming in a way that you didn't expect, in a way that maybe has you at a loss for words, because maybe it seems almost like a loss when it really is a win. My emotions move through cycles and connect me to my truth. I am ready. Thank you. Yes. Again, like, it's very much like what it's giving me. Sorry, I'm started yelling. What it's giving me is that the energy of a lot of the fights, trials, tribulations, things that you've gone through up until this point, these last couple months, this time period that we're in currently, which has included the feeling of not having many opportunities. Maybe you felt like you're in a period of things not really moving, or, you know, false promises, or like, you know, this is also giving that energy of like, maybe if you're like trying to get a better job, and then it's like you do the interview and, you know, you like the job and the job likes you, and you're like, yes, I'm going to get this job, but then you don't get the job, or they just kind of like, trying to find the right word because the word that I want to say is not appropriate, like fiddle around, I guess, you know, and don't ever get back to you. And so it's that kind of energy that makes you doubt what it is that you have. It's this kind of energy that makes it hard to be fulfilled and happy with where you're at right now in this moment. It's the kind of energy that makes it hard to look out into the world and say, okay, where am I meant to be? Where am I meant to go? Where am I meant to plant these seeds? What am I meant to collaborate with? What am I meant to couple with, when it seems that every time I put my foot forward, I'm getting it slammed in the door, so to speak, or I'm getting met with resistance, and which is all valid and true, is what Spirit is saying. Those trials, those tribulations, that energy. But the main energy here is that it's aligning to something that is deeper, that is meant for you, that comes through this loss, that comes through this battle, that comes through this, these trials and tribulations, and kind of like tests. But it's not really about testing you like you need to prove something. It's more like you having to go through these fires, these trials of fires, like a rite of passage almost, to a more aligned, better version of you that you've actually been calling in, but perhaps maybe we're stuck in bad habits or old ways that if you hadn't been kind of put through the ringer, so to speak, that you wouldn't actually be prepared to meet this partnership and this opportunity and be able to commit to it and be the type of person. It's kind of giving like the energy of like, if you, again, going back to like, this is really, I keep seeing like something that you've been manifesting. Maybe you wrote it down, maybe you've like prayed about it. Again, so if you have been praying about this, you've been manifesting it, it's something that you've been really working towards. You know, it's like you don't just become that person overnight, right? And a lot of times when we are working towards manifesting something or praying for something and wanting something better in our lives, perhaps wanting a partner who loves and supports us, perhaps wanting the dream job, perhaps wanting more opportunities in our career, perhaps wanting, you know, more friendship and connection and community. But then when we look at ourselves and we're being honest with ourselves and look in the mirror, excuse me, and look in the mirror, we can see, wow, like I'm actually not that person. And that's no shade to you, right? It's just that's obvious, right? When you want something, when you are manifesting something, it's something that is inside of you that you have the power to be, right? But a lot of times us wanting that is because there's a gap between where we are and where we want to be, who we are now and who we need to be in order to have that type of partnership, that type of opportunity, that type of career, that type of whatever it is, right? So right now what we're doing is filling that gap. And a lot of times we think filling that gap comes with these beautiful opportunities that are just going to come our way, and we're just going to take them by the I don't know what that word is. We take things by just take them on. We take them on. We're taking it on. And by taking it on, we just are going to automatically become that person and just like rise to the challenge, which might happen for a small few. But I feel like for most of us, what ends up happening is that we fall in the challenge. And that feeling of failure and devastation and loss and trial can be really defeating. But it's in that defeat and in that complete shattering of our ego and shattering of what it is that we thought we knew, that might even have you questioning what it is that you prayed for or manifested or wanted, that in that space, you start to become exactly the person you need to be in order to meet that thing that it is that you want. And I'm going to go ahead and read this card, the Ring, so you can get a little better idea of what might be this energy that we're talking about, that we are coupling with in this moment, we are aligning ourselves to. Now, these cards, this is from the Letterman deck, and these cards have a lot of different interpretations. So as with everything in tarot, always take what resonates and leaves the rest. So when I read this message, if it does not resonate, do not make it resonate. But if something sticks out, that it's probably talking about that specific thing in your life, okay? It says the basic meaning of this card is marriage, partnerships, contracts, agreements, something that runs in circles, a cycle that's reoccurring, representative or always repeating, situations or things that are interconnected. I feel so much interconnectedness in this reading, right? It's like, it's giving like, you know, maybe you really want this beautiful partnership, but you have self-sabotage tendencies and patterns that really need to be addressed. So you might have had to go through the ringer, go through the fire, lose something in your life to realize these patterns that you are self-prophesizing, right? Or maybe something that you're attracting and being like, okay, why am I always attracting this, right? Situations or things are interconnected. In general, the meaning is about relationships, repetitions, and running in circles. Yeah, there's a lot of like doing the same thing over and over again and it getting you nowhere. Doing the same thing over and over again and it getting you nowhere. So these trials, these tribulations, these things that you're going through the ringer, the reason that they're happening is what Spirit's saying is that this is meant to break the cycle. This is meant to break the repetition. This is meant to prevent you from having to do it again in the same way over and over again without evolving, of aligning to the next chapter, so to speak. It also could be about legal documents, military service, mandatory things, chronic liability, a strong foundation between two people, creating a mutual foundation, feeling connected, staying together on the basis of commitments, and getting excited about your ideas, strengthening your relationships, bringing something to a conclusion that's been lived for years, and also returning to a starting point. Relationships grow and change over time. In long-term relationships, remember the actual relationship. Yeah, and I feel like this can be applied to a actual romantic relationship, a friendship, your family, your business, right? Like, don't forget the actual relationship. This is also that feeling of like, if you've just been going through the motions lately and going through the cycles and going through just like, I'm doing all the right things on paper, but you're not bringing your presence and your power and your vitality into the space because you've kind of, with everything going on, right, in the world, maybe in your personal world, the global climate, politics, etc., have been disconnected and disillusioned a little bit, or detached from yourself. This is kind of that energy of like bringing you back to the things that are important, reconnecting you back to the things that are important, realigning and finding deeper union with those things that energize you in greater harmony. And this has come through a lot of time of reflection, of confrontation, and of struggle, is what these cards are showing here. And at times not having all the answers and feeling like your own worst enemy, and feeling like you might even be imprisoned by yourself, by these cycles, by your mind. But ultimately, you are being challenged to see through this and to recognize where your abundance is, where your resources are with the Queen of Pentacles here, and to find security within, a greater sense of security within that is unshakable, so that you can start to now take action. That's what this has all done. It's created a stronger sense of security within yourself of the things that are unshakable, so that you can now take action. And I'm hearing that now is the time to take action. You may not have it all figured out. Your emotions might be, up and down and all over the place. But when the feeling is right and it's time to strike, it is time to go, share your wisdom, and be able to manifest in the direction in which you've been trying to create this new life. That is what these cards are showing overall. That is the main message of this collective energy right now. And I love this for us because, man, have the trials and tribulations with this moon card, Seven of Swords, and all these reversal energies been real real for your girl over here and for the collective at large. And has if you felt like you've been at a standstill or in a place of just like hermit mode, or recreating, reinventing yourself, or having to really take a step back and be like a detached observer from your life to really recognize who and what is for you, and what cycles and patterns that you might be self-prophesizing in a way that are not good for you and not for your ultimate benefit, and the way in which you actually have the power to be exactly who it is that you want to be right now in this moment, through these trials and tribulations, ridding those parts of you that prevent you from aligning to your highest truth, which is exactly what Spirit is putting in front of you, and that you have the power now to step into and create in congruency, in alignment with. So I love this. I love this energy for us because it's very Leo. It's very like out and proud and ready to go in terms of this new glow, new aura, new presence, new vibe, new personality, and flow. I'm ready for it all. So I'm going to go ahead and read these oracle cards here and see what other additional messages that they have for the collective. Let's look at the reflect card. I do feel like this time period has been a time period of, again, a lot of standstill, although the advice now is to take action when you feel called to take action, not to force action, but when, again, it's all about alignment. Taking action, look at that, it's right above the alignment card. When things align, taking action when things are in union, taking action when things are vibing with resonance, not forcing it, but not hesitating when the moment is right. And you'll know when the moment is right. So if you've been in a time period of a lot of deep reflection, that's exactly where you're meant to be. If you've been in a time period of being almost at a standstill, that's exactly where you have been meant to be. But now is the time to take action when the moment strikes, is what I'm hearing. So let's go ahead and look at this card, reflect and share wisdom, which share wisdom I think also goes with that. It's time to take action when the moment strikes. But that's part of sharing wisdom, is it's not, we've all seen when people are younger, and they have so much to say, and, they think they have the whole world figured out, right? And then as you get older, maybe this isn't the case for everyone, but in traditional sense, right? As you get older, you don't speak on everything, and you speak more on the things that you absolutely know, that you have the wisdom in. So that's what I think that share wisdom card is about. Is it's not about striking on every opportunity. It's not about just moving just for the sake of moving and getting active and just doing things just to do it. It's about really having the wisdom of knowing when it's time for you to speak up, step up, and share. And when it's time to just let things be and take a back seat and be okay with that. So let's go ahead and look at the reflect card. Without a reflective practice, we end up repeating. Yo, this is so crazy. Sorry. I know every time I pull tarot, I get so intense about it, which is like, I really shouldn't get so intense about it because it's obvious how the tarot works, but I do get so intense about it because it just blows my mind every single time. How we're over here talking about we're patterns and cycles. And I'm like, yeah, I can see that in this energy about breaking cycles, about breaking patterns, that we've been in this place of really needing to evaluate our own self-sabotage, our own problematic thinking, our own ways we lack taking accountability, our own ways in which we beat ourselves up and are our own worst enemy, our own ways that we prevent greater harmony in our lives in whatever it is that we're creating, right? That was the energy that's coming through. And then this card literally says, we end up repeating the same patterns over and over again, unable to reach our potential. That is what it says right here. It's blowing my mind. Anyways, we're going to go back to reading it. Okay, so it says, this card asks you to sit in silence for a few moments and reflect upon what has been coming up for you recently. What emotions do you find yourself experiencing continuously? And what situations do you find yourself in often? It's giving this energy right here. If you are finding unease in any area of your life, have you experienced it before, and when? When was the first time you remember feeling this way? How did your family handle this sort of situation when you were young? This is very much breaking generational curses. Love that. Consider journaling around these questions and allowing whatever needs to come up and come out. When we reflect, the intention is not to fix, but to simply view ourselves and our lives with less bias and more openness. Again, going back to that, you may have been a little bit more detached and more of an observer in your life, which is what you were meant to do so that you can really reflect on how these patterns are moving through your life, and the participation, which is our own power, our own accountability and power, and where we have like the greatest ability to do anything in life is the way in which we participate in life, right? In our patterns and the way that we navigate the world, right? And this has really been an opportunity to observe that so that we can make different choices. And that's what Spirit is really like like putting in front of you, like it's time to make a different choice. And you now have the tools and ability to make a different choice because you're now resonating differently. You're vibrating differently because you've seen these patterns and are able to be like, oh, yeah. When I do that, that's not the way I should be doing that. And if you don't feel like you've been able to recognize the patterns, then this right here is your cue to take some time the next couple days, the next couple weeks, and just really observe what kind of situations happen in your life, if there are any repeating patterns or cycles in the way that you feel, in the way that you act, in this actual situations that are happening, etc. Because those are the things that Spirit really wants you to pay attention to and to see your personal power in at this moment right now. And that ripples out to everything, right? The personal is political. The personal is global. And when we notice and pay attention to the way we self-sabotage and the way that we are, trauma reacting in our own personal lives, we can see how that ripples out to our friendships and our community and the globe. And that's something that we all really, really, really need when we look at what's going on in the politics in the world at large. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and look at the Share Wisdom card. It says this card is about the wisdom of experience. Our most potent medicine is born from the trials we have endured. It is easy to underestimate all that we know and all that we have learned, but we each have unique perspective and offering to this world. Our wisdom evolves with us. Right now, you're being asked to speak more loudly about what you know. Do not worry about whether you know enough or whether you think you are qualified enough. It is time to put voice to all that you have experienced. And I think that goes really deeply with what I said about everything that's going on and really making sure that your wisdom plays a role in that. And you're not just bypassing through your life, spiritual bypassing through the world, bypassing through your own this moment in history, but also your own life, right? It's so easy to kind of take a back seat when we're observing, and the next thing you know, we're just taking a backseat in our life. There's a difference between taking a backseat to observe, to reflect, to gain wisdom, to gain insight, and then just basically becoming, allowing the life to just happen without you, just taking a backseat in general and no longer taking action or being an active participant in your own life and in the world at large. And so this is really encouraging you to share that wisdom that you do have, and that, your voice and your wisdom does matter. And even if you don't have the right answers, or, that doesn't mean we don't take accountability. That doesn't mean that we don't apologize. That doesn't mean that we don't make mistakes. But we don't want to cower in fear of those mistakes, that we don't end up doing anything and just in action, allowing the status quo to continue. So that's that card. Let's go ahead and look at these cards right here. We have the Angel of New Life and the Angel of Guidance. And my emotions move and connect me through through cycles and connect me to my truth. So let's go ahead and look at these two from the Angels, Gods, and Goddesses deck. Angel of New Life. I love this card because I do feel like it's a new life, that the sense of aligning to something new. And this is a new evolution within ourselves, within who we want to be. It's like, taking things to the next level within your life, whatever that next level may be. And it's something, again, that I keep seeing someone praying or writing about. And this could be, long ago, writing in a journal, writing to yourself, writing a letter, writing a petition, praying, doing affirmations, chants, etc. All right, Angel of New Life, and I'm going to just cover this up so, An exciting new chapter of your life is about to unfold. The Angel of New Life is here to announce that a new chapter of your life is about to unfold. Over the coming days and weeks, you will begin to feel a sense of renewed clarity, purpose, and direction. New magical and exciting things begin to happen. As you are intuitively guided to explore new avenues and possibilities for your life, through this process, you will uncover aspects of yourself you didn't know you had. Embrace this new exciting period of your life and know that the past is behind you. Your life is forever changing, and you are forever evolving to greater spheres of light and love through the wondrous spirit of creation. Enjoy the journey and all the blessings coming your way. Yes, I love that. And let's go ahead and look at this angel of guidance here. It says, a renewed sense of direction and purpose will soon manifest. You have felt a bit lost and confused lately, very much giving that energy. Perhaps not sure which direction to take. The angel of guidance has felt your silent cries for help and is here to guide you upon your soul's chosen path. Close your eyes for a few moments and feel a healing, calm, and clarifying light swell from your heart center. Feel it expand through your auric field, creating an aura of rainbow light around you in your mind's eye. Imagine before you a beautiful golden path surrounded by lush foliage of trees and flowers, and visualize yourself upon this path, healing towards the sun beyond the horizon. The golden path symbolizes your journey in this life, while the sun is the reflection of your soul, which is your guiding light. Stop trying to figure it all out and simply trust, for you are always on the right path, whether you know it or not. Practice the golden path meditation a little each day and surrender all to your angel of guidance, who is here to help you. You will have a renewed sense of direction and purpose very soon. Trust and love. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and read this last card because I know that this reading is going very long. But man, the energy coming through has been so exciting. So let's go ahead and read this last card here. My emotions move through cycles and connect me to my truth, which is from the Moon deck, which y'all know is one of my favorite OG decks that I have. This is number 9. And if you are interested in joining our Patreon community, there's a tier on the Patreon where I do a personal reading for you every single month. You can check that out down below. And just joining our community is completely free, and that's where I post some exclusive content, especially with tarot readings and things like that. So if you're interested, definitely make sure to join down below. All right, cycles. This card is literally called Cycles. Y'all, if the message is not any more obvious that we are breaking cycles, this is very much obvious here. We are cyclical in nature and fluctuate. We ebb and flow, rise and fall, contract and expand, and everything in between. Our cycles are a gift and carry deep and rich wisdom. Embrace your cycles and know that they inspired heightened intuition and creative genius. They also unearth buried desires, reveal where self-care is lacking, awaken directive inquiry, and invite you to truly feel your rhythm. If you resist your essential nature, you may feel disconnected or lose touch with your ability to self-regulate. Your body informs and guides you. Pause and feel. Stagnation may be a call for change. Feeling stuck may be a sign you need to move. Weighed down with inner clutter may be a nudge to make space. Give yourself permission to feel your full range of emotions and multifaceted nature. This is key to your wisdom and vitality. Okay, y'all, those are the messages here for the collective for this month. I want to thank your guides, my guides, and the divine for this space. Again, if you're interested, check out the Patreon down below. And let me know, again, all the updates and things happening in your life this month. Drop a comment and let me know if this reading resonated. And I look forward to connecting again with you all next month. Until then, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. For this month, I want to thank your guides, my guides, and the divine for this space. Again, if you're interested, check out the Patreon down below. And let me know, again, all the updates and things happening in your life this month. Drop a comment and let me know if this reading resonated. And I look forward to connecting again with you all next month. Until then, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.